Friend, come sit a little closer. My knees don't work the way they used to, and I don't want to shout across the room like two old goats arguing over who ate the last bowl of oatmeal. Let me hold your hand for a moment. Don't worry, I won't steal your rings. My fingers aren't strong enough anymore to pull them off even if I tried. You asked me about something delicate today. Something most men my age would never admit out loud. Something many of them suffer from, but pretend they don't. You said, "Paul, how do you know when a senior man is becoming low value?" Whew, you sure don't ask small questions, do you? You go straight for the jugular like a hungry cat chasing a blind mouse. But I'll tell you everything. Because I'm 80 years old and I've lived through enough pride, stupidity, heartbreak, and foolishness to fill 3 seasons of a Netflix drama. And I've seen men, good men, lose their value without even realizing it. I've seen men who were once lions become tired house cats, chasing dust bunnies instead of dreams. I've seen men fade, shrink, disappear. Not because life demanded it, but because they quietly surrendered. Not you, though, and not the men watching this, at least not after hearing this story of mine. You see, friend, becoming low value doesn't happen in a single day. It's a slow leak, a quiet drip, a small crack, like when your roof starts with one tiny hole and ends in a full waterfall pouring straight onto your living room carpet. And if a man doesn't repair himself, the whole house collapses. Let me start with something that happened when I was 72. I'll never forget it. I was sitting alone in a cafe, sipping my bitter coffee because I didn't have the courage to tell the waitress I wanted more sugar. And then it hit me. I wasn't living. I was just surviving. And surviving, friend, is the first symptom. Let me share all 7 signs with you, wrapped in stories from my life. Painful ones, funny ones, embarrassing ones that still make me wish I could zip myself into a suitcase and roll into the ocean. And I'll tell you exactly how a man can fix each one before it's too late. Stay with me, all right? Don't wander off mentally. I know your mind likes to run faster than your feet. Sign number 1 is a tough one. A senior man becomes low value the moment he stops caring about himself. Let me tell you what I mean. When I was younger, I was sharp. Not fancy, but sharp. Clean shirt, good shoes, hair combed, teeth brushed like I was trying to impress a dentist. But somewhere in my 70s, I started slipping. I'd wake up, look in the mirror, shrug, and walk away like, good enough, nobody's gonna look at me anyway. Terrible mindset. It was a silent surrender. I remember one afternoon I went to visit my daughter. She opened the door and looked at me and said, "Dad, did you get dressed in the dark?" That woman stabbed me deeper than a sword. She wasn't wrong, though. My shirt was wrinkled, buttons uneven, socks mismatching, and don't even ask about the smell. I looked like a man who had quit on himself. And that's what being low value really is. Quitting without dying. The fix? Pride. Healthy pride. Just enough to make you say, "Hold on, I still matter." And friend, you better believe you matter too. Now let me take you to the second sign. A senior man becomes low value when he stops learning. Learning keeps the brain alive. It keeps the heart young. It keeps the soul from turning into microwaved leftovers. I once dated a woman. This was before my heart became as dry as a sponge left under the sun for 3 weeks. She was lovely, smart, curious, always reading something, always asking questions. And one day she told me, "Paul, you're stuck." That hurt, But she was right. I had gotten so comfortable with my routines that my mind became a rusty drawer no one opened anymore. But the moment I started learning again, books, documentaries, new hobbies, even a YouTube video about how to fix a squeaky door, I felt alive. I felt valuable. I felt like a man again. Friend, remind your heart often. Curiosity keeps the engine running. Now, brace yourself for the third sign. A senior man becomes low value when he becomes emotionally unavailable. Ooh, this one is painful, because men love to pretend we're made of stone. We act like emotions are some kind of disease and vulnerability is a criminal offense. But emotional isolation? That's how men die early. Let me confess something you don't know. When my wife passed away, I closed myself off like a locked basement door. I talked to nobody, opened up to nobody. I didn't cry in front of anyone. I didn't share what I was feeling. And guess what? It nearly killed me. Friend, a man who cannot express himself becomes a shadow, and shadows have no value. Not to themselves, not to others, not to life. Once I started talking, expressing, sharing, I came alive again. Even now, talking to you feels like unclogging a pipe that has been stuffed with old memories and emotional dust. Now listen closely, because this part is important. If you're still here with me, if you're feeling something, if you're nodding even a little, then let me ask you, why haven't you liked this video yet, or commented, or subscribed? Go on, friend. Your support helps the channel grow, and it tells the universe, yes, I want more wisdom from old man Paul. Don't be shy now. Now, let me move on before you accuse me of flirting too boldly, although at 80 I consider flirting a physical exercise. The fourth sign of a low-value senior man is when he stops leading his own life. You should have seen me a few years ago. I wasn't leading anything, not my health, not my finances, not my social life. I was just drifting like a leaf in the wind, waiting for someone else to decide what I should do. One day my friend George, another old fool, said, "Paul, when did you become a passenger in your own car?" That hit me hard, because that's what low-value men do. They sit in the passenger seat while life drives them wherever it wants. A valuable man? He grabs the wheel, even with shaky hands, even if he's nearly blind, and he says, "No, no, we're going this way." Friend, if a man doesn't command his own life, the world will command it for him. Now, on to the fifth sign. A senior man becomes low value when he becomes bitter. Ah, yes, bitterness, the poison tea many older men drink daily. They sit around complaining, criticizing, judging, whining. They talk about the good old days so much you'd think they lived in a museum. When I turned 75, I became a world champion complainer. Everything bothered me. The weather, the news, young people, old people, my shoes, my neighbor's dog, my own reflection. Bitterness eats value like termites eat wood. The moment you let go of bitterness, when you stop blaming the world for everything, you suddenly feel 10 years younger. You feel lighter. You feel capable again. The sixth sign is one I hope you remind every man about. A senior man becomes low value when he stops showing affection and appreciation. Men forget how powerful gentle touch is, how meaningful sincere gratitude is, how valuable kindness is. They stop saying thank you, I appreciate you, I'm proud of you, you matter to me. They stop hugging, stop smiling, stop giving compliments. They turn emotionally cold, like forgotten leftovers in the freezer. I learned this lesson the hard way with my grandchildren. One of them said, "Grandpa, why don't you hug me anymore?" My heart broke. I didn't even notice I'd become distant. A man who loses warmth loses value. And now, the seventh sign, the one that matters most. A senior man becomes low value when he stops having purpose. Purpose is oxygen for the soul. Without purpose, a man collapses. He becomes empty, quiet, invisible, unnecessary. But when he finds purpose, no matter how small, he rises again. Friend, you know what my purpose is now? Talking to you. Talking to people who want to learn and grow with fire in their hearts. Helping men and women not become shadows, but flames. Purpose revived me, like someone relit a candle inside my chest. And that's why I'm sharing all this. Because you matter. Your life still matters. Your future still matters. And the men you love, the men listening right now, they deserve to know how to rise again. Now don't go anywhere. I still need to tell you the full story of how each sign nearly destroyed me and how fixing them brought me back to life in a way I never expected. You're not getting away from me yet, friend. Not until I finish telling you everything. Friend, lean back for a moment. Let me stretch my back before we continue, because after 80 years on this earth, my spine sounds like someone stepping on dry crackers. Ah, that's better. Now, where were we? Yes, I promised I'd tell you the rest of the story, the deeper story, the real wounds behind those 7 signs that almost dragged me into being a low-value senior man without even realizing it. It's easy to list signs. Anyone can read bullet points on the internet and pretend they understand life, but living through them, surviving them, rebuilding from them, that's something else. And you, my dear friend, deserve the truth, not the summary. Let me take you back in time. Back to the year I turned 74. That was the year everything slipped. Slowly, quietly, without drama at first, but looking back, I see the exact moment the cracks formed. I was sitting by the window in my old house, staring outside like a retired security guard watching the birds steal all the glory. My days were repetitive. Wake up, make coffee, read the same newspaper even though nothing inside it made me happy anymore. Walk slowly around the house, pretending it was exercise, but really, it was boredom wearing sneakers. I felt tired, older than 80, even though I wasn't 80 yet. I felt small. That's how low value starts, quietly, invisibly, long before anyone notices. One morning, I stood in front of the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back at me. Not because of wrinkles or gray hair. Those things are badges of honor, trust me. But because he looked lifeless, like someone had dimmed the light inside him but forgot to turn it back on. And here's the part I never told anyone, until now. I didn't care. Friend, that's the most dangerous kind of low value, when a man stops caring about himself. Not even enough to fix his shirt, or drink water, or comb what little hair he still has left clinging to dear life like survivors on a sinking ship. One day my daughter said, "Dad, you don't look well." I shrugged, not because I didn't hear her, but because hearing it hurt too much. When someone notices you're fading, it means you faded more than you thought. But something changed the day my grandson asked me a simple question. "Grandpa, why don't you smile anymore?" I froze. I felt something inside me crumble, because children see the truth adults ignore. I used to smile. I used to laugh so loudly people thought I was auditioning for a comedy show. But somewhere along the path, joy left quietly, like a friend who didn't want to bother you by saying goodbye. That night I sat alone and asked myself, when did I start disappearing? And that's when I realized it. Becoming low value isn't the moment. It's a slow fade, like the sun setting 1 degree at a time, until suddenly you look outside and realize it's pitch black. But let me tell you something important before the sadness sinks too deep into your bones. I didn't stay that way, and no man has to, because value isn't youth. Value isn't muscles. Value isn't money. Value is presence, purpose, effort, self-respect. Now let me tell you how each sign nearly took me down and how I climbed back up. Remember when I told you about the second sign, the one about not learning? Let me tell you how bad that got. I used to be curious, always reading, always watching something interesting, always asking questions. But then I hit a stage where I thought, what's the point? I'm old. Learning won't change anything. That kind of thinking is poison. It drains a man's spirit faster than time ever could. One night I missed a birthday dinner because I got the time wrong. Why? Because I refused to learn how to use the digital clock they bought me. I told myself, I've lived with decades with analog clocks. I don't need this new nonsense. You know what that mindset did? It made me lonely. I isolated myself out of stubbornness. That's when I learned something crucial. Knowledge isn't intelligence. It's about engagement with life. When a man stops learning, he stops participating in the world around him. And trust me, friend, the world moves on quickly. If you're not learning, you're not keeping up. You're being left behind. Now let me take you somewhere deeper. The emotional layer. The third sign, emotional unavailability. That one nearly cost me my life. You know how people say grief changes you? They're not lying. When my wife passed away, I shut down completely. I turned into a stone pretending to be a man. I wasn't talking, I wasn't sharing, I wasn't connecting. I was existing like a ghost, haunting a house instead of living in it. I didn't realize how bad it was until one afternoon my neighbor knocked on my door and asked if I was okay. I hadn't spoken to a single person for nearly 10 days.
10 days, friend. Silence is a cage, and men climb inside it willingly, thinking it protects them. But all it does is suffocate the humanity inside. It took one conversation, just one, to start thawing the ice around my heart. But that step felt like dragging a mountain with my bare hands. If it weren't for a friend who insisted on talking to me, I might still be frozen, even now. That's why I always tell people, if someone cares enough to knock on your emotional door, open it, even if just an inch. Now, the fourth sign, losing leadership in your own life. That was one of my darkest times. I became passive, quiet, obedient to a routine that wasn't helping me. I woke up when life told me to, ate when life told me to, slept when life told me to. I wasn't choosing anything anymore. I became a passenger in a car with no driver. One afternoon, something embarrassing happened. I went grocery shopping and just walked behind a couple without realizing it. I followed them around for 15 minutes. They finally turned around and said, "Sir, do you need help?" I snapped out of it and realized I wasn't leading myself. I was drifting behind strangers, literally and metaphorically. That moment slapped me awake. A man who doesn't take charge will always end up following someone he never intended to follow. Friend, don't ever let a man you care about fall into passive living. Shake him, wake him, remind him he still has a steering wheel in his hands. Now about bitterness. The fifth sign. That one can sneak up like arthritis in your knees. You don't notice it at first. Then suddenly you're miserable at everything, complaining all day, annoyed at people breathing too loudly, angry at your reflection, irritated by anyone happy. Bitterness is like mold. It grows silently but fast. Do you know when I realized I was bitter? When a young man held the door open for me and I grumbled, "I can handle it myself." Why did I say that? Pride mixed with resentment. But when he walked away, I felt ashamed. That's when I knew bitterness had settled into my bones. To fix it, I had to practice gratitude, not the shallow kind, the real kind. I started small, being thankful for waking up, for breathing, for having legs that still carried me, even if they squeaked like old hinges. With time, the bitterness melted. Then comes affection, the sixth sign, that quiet, gentle, yet powerful force older men often abandon. I became cold without noticing it. Not cruel, just distant. I stopped hugging my grandchildren, stopped thanking my neighbors, stopped smiling at strangers. I forgot that affection doesn't make a man weak, it makes him human. When my granddaughter asked why I didn't hug her anymore, I felt a pain that could have cracked a mountain. I wrapped her in my arms right then, and in that moment, I remembered who I used to be, a warm man, not a cold one. Kindness restores value faster than anything money can buy. And now we circle back to purpose, the seventh sign. Purpose disappearing is like hearing your favorite song fade out forever. You don't even realize how much you needed it until the silence hurts. When I found purpose again, helping people, sharing stories, talking to you, friend, I felt reborn. I felt like I had stepped into a new season of life instead of waiting for my final chapter. Purpose is the spark. Without it, a man is just an engine without fuel. So that's the journey, the rise and fall and rise again of Paul Walker. And that's why I'm telling you all of this, pouring my memories into your hands like water from an old jug. Because someone out there, maybe a man watching, maybe the woman who loves him, needs to understand that low value isn't permanent. It's a phase. A dangerous one, yes, but absolutely fixable. And if there's one thing you remember from this long, winding, emotional confession I've shared with you today, let it be this. A man loses value when he stops trying. A man regains value the moment he begins again. And friend, it's never too late to begin again. Not at 60, not at 80, not even at 90 if you're stubborn enough. Now come here. Give me your hand. Let's sit a little longer. I've still got a little warmth left in these old bones, and I'm not done telling you stories for many years to come.